hang on. Piece of popcorn.
When did you eat popcorn?
Earlier. It's been stuck in the back of my throat forever.
That's what she said.
I got it. Intro. Right there. That thing has been bugging me forever. So what's up, guys? What's going on here? River Sullivan coming at you right here, right now, yet again, through another pre-recorded that was once live episode of This Evening Tonight. And with me, this evening, tonight, or whatever time it is that you're watching or listening, my friend, the other hetero life mate, the connoisseur of coffee himself, the viceroy of vape, the sultan of the shocker.
That's all you got today?
I got distracted there. Hi.
What's up?
So what's going on, everybody? Me and Scott here this week with you yet again, and we're going to be talking a little bit about the future and some of the cool things that come with the future, like DARPA.
Technology.
You know what DARPA stands for?
Defense something or other.
The Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency.
It's basically black projects, right? Well, I mean, they can't be that black if they're on the internet, right?
Yeah, I mean, DARPA is like the really high-tech stuff that our government pretty much gives grants to fund these projects because chances are they see some kind of military value in it or some form of intrinsic value that they'd like to take advantage of.
Defense technology development, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay. And there's followings of conspiracy theorists just on DARPA itself because of the things that we do see. Like, if you've ever been to the DARPA website, it's the most washed out, looks like somebody's like Angel Fire like homepage that they made back in the early 2000s.
Just redacted to death.
Yeah, like it's just, we make things for America. Okay.
We make your lives better.
So what we're going to do here, guys, we pulled a few articles here. I'll try to include the link to the article that we're referencing. Was from Futurism.com, the 9 most amazing DARPA projects. This article was published way back in August 20th, 2017. So we're going to go over some of the projects here, and we're going to talk about them a little bit, see what we can get out of it. So the first one they had was the ACTUV. The ASW, Continuous Trail Unmanned Vessel project, is to develop a water-based anti-submarine drone. So it's a water drone built to track submarines, stuff like that, and monitoring and control from shore. Yeah, so people can be safe.
So where does it stay? Is it surface only, or is it submersible?
From what I can tell, it's a surface-only thing. Like it gets launched either from a ship or from a port, and they're talking about people being safe and controlling it from the shoreline. So it's just like a UAV except water-based. And right now they're just used for reconnaissance and surveillance and being able to like actively ping. They can actively ping their sonar so they can find any vessels or submarines that aren't supposed to be there. Because the thing is, with sonar, if they actively ping, like some people, if you've seen the submarine movies, they do an active ping, and that gives somebody, like, that'll give the submarine the enemy location, but the enemy submarine will also know your location because they can backtrace your ping. If you got a drone, you can actively ping all day and not really worry because there's no crew to be lost.
Just a multi-million-dollar drone.
Yeah, just a multi-million-dollar drone.
No big deal.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I mean, there's a need for that. I want one of those for sure.
Yeah. We're looking at number 2 here, the Warrior Web, which was pretty much a exoskeletal pair of legs. It was a exoskeletal pair of legs that the soldiers can strap on them to carry heavy things.
Robot legs
from Call of Duty, Advanced Warfare.
Oh yeah.
No, I mean that was a big thing in Call of Duty. So the DARPA Warriors Web initiative has been trying to reduce injuries through the development of a soft and lightweight exoskeleton that protects the ankles, knees, hips, backs, and shoulders of its wearer. So this is my theory on this. Super cool. It kind of went with one of the previous episodes where I talked about the spray-on muscle. In reality, it's an exoskeletal leg wrap It's like leg braces, or it looks like those polio braces kind of, except it's under power. The thing that I believe, though, about this as to why I think we'll see this more likely is because the VA and the military is getting tired of people in their lawsuits for hurting ankles and bad backs, and then they get medically discharged, and then they got to get paid some money. So they're going, you know what? Let's give them robot legs. And if they want to bitch about back pain, we'll know they're full of shit.
I can see that, but my problem with that, though, is like I don't think that'll be ever. I don't think we'll ever see that in full scale production, just because of the cost. I mean, that's
saw gunners, AGs, maybe.
Okay, maybe, but like maybe in spec op units or something, where like they have to travel on foot for hundreds of miles, you know.
Yeah.
But
maybe that's what I said. If you had like the AG or the assistant gunner, the guy that carries the ammo for the crew served weapons, you might see something like that with him.
Okay,
because they got to carry hundreds of rounds of ammo on their back. Other than that, yeah, I don't see like
until it becomes cost effective where they can make it for practically nothing.
That's what I mean. Is it more cost effective than all the medical discharges?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's just that's a side effect of our society as a whole. I mean,
what, back problems?
Well, I mean, the military does break your body. That's a known fact.
Yeah.
Now, to what degree, that I guess depends on your fitness level. But if we as a society for the last 50 years have become more and more latent, naturally our bodies are going to adapt and be a little more weaker, even if we're in shape, you know.
You know what I found out? You know who the fattest branch of the military is?
The Coast Guard.
Nah.
Really?
Close, it was the Navy.
Well, I mean, you know.
A lot of people were making fun of me because I was Air Force, and they were like, oh, hey, fatty.
Yeah. How many laps can you run around a ship?
Got to do that little scoop from the bulkheads. You got to pick your leg up and duck your head down at the same time.
I mean, I don't see you getting much exercise on a submarine, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, what is it? They're number one, they're the number one military branch, or the number one fat military branch, at like 22% of their enlisted and officers are listed as obese. Not overweight, because there was like overweight, obese, and then morbidly obese. Which, yeah.
Moby Dick size.
Oh, no.
Sorry, Navy guys. I love you.
Yeah,
no offense.
You can't call them a squid anymore.
It's the Kraken.
It's the pot of whales.
It's a great white whale.
Okay, we got to move on from this one. Was there a ding just now?
Yeah, my phone's talking to me.
Rock stars. So then we have the XS-1 Spaceplane. While SpaceX has been very successful in developing technologies allowing for space shuttles to be reused, DARPA is developing its own booster technology that has some pretty lofty goals in mind. 3,000 pounds of cargo, launching every 10 days, without the cost exceeding $5 million for each launch. Ooh, very, very frugal of them. Insert sarcasm there. 12 to 15 test flights are scheduled this year for 2020, with planned speeds up to Mach 5, flying 10 times over 10 consecutive days. So it sounds like they're trying to set up a
quick turnaround,
or like a freight line in space. Just 10 of them going, and then I'm guessing after the 10th one gets up there, yeah, moon base is coming.
It's going to happen.
Oh man, like it's like Schneider trucking, just flying by in space.
I mean, I'd like to see that happen. Like I've always been fascinated by space planes per se. Like just the idea of like, why can't we build something that cost effectively can fly from a runway to space and back? But I guess there's a whole science behind the propulsion.
I hear there's
a
lot of math involved.
Because I know like up to a certain point, only certain propulsion works efficiently.
Was the traditional space shuttle burns 10,000 gallons of fuel a second on its launch. Like the big tank that like our traditional space shuttles were launching from, 10,000 gallons of fuel per second.
That's it?
A second, yeah. Now, I mean, if we were British or whatever, or like the rest of the world and just not the U.S., we were using the metric. Thousands and millions of liters
of petrol. Now, that right there looks cool. I think that has a lot of potential right there.
Yes, I do want to see this. We're looking at the Dragon Dream, as it's called. Pretty much a return to Zeppelins and dirigibles, if you will.
In a sense, they're hybrid, so they do have some conventional lift.
Yeah, the photo we're looking at is pretty much looks like a stainless steel bodied blimp, and it has four vertical thrusters, probably giant props, almost like a drone. Like it took the inspiration between a blimp and a drone, and they're laying on the belly of it, and super cool looking. So it says airship company worldwide AeroCorps worked with DARPA to create a semi-rigid hull airship to bring the concept of large-capacity cargo transport to reality. Now, this is way better than the XS-1 or X-whatever-1 that we were just looking at. It can haul, what was it, 3,000 pounds of cargo. Yeah, this airship, while not in space, so still hindered by gravitation, gravity of the planet. So the preliminary test airship of half the goal size was built and first took flight in 2013. So the full-sized airship, theoretically, would be able to carry up to 500 tons. It's like, what, 2 million pounds?
Yeah, that from what I understand, like they are, as far as like cost to weight ratio, they are very efficient. Like the potential is there if they can, mass produce these things. Like I said, the cost to weight ratio is amazing. Like, I think they have great potential.
It's definitely slower.
Yeah, that's the only sacrifice you're making is they're slower than conventional aircraft. But the thing is, they're still faster than, the old school Zeppelins, I could see a use for that in the future. I mean, they're a lot greener.
So yeah, it can haul 3 times the weight of the next best transport in its, I guess, class, if you want to call it that. Or it was Lockheed Martin's C5 Galaxy, and this is the C5M Super Galaxy. Those are gigantic planes. So to put that in perspective, I'm trying to grasp at that because it's huge. Now, I would see that a lot of people that I talked to about this were like, what the hell do you have that you want to haul 1 million, 2 million pounds of?
Everything.
Yeah. Troop transport.
Yeah.
You could haul an entire battalion and then some, and all their cars and, the Humvees and the tanks and whatever.
I think people really take for granted how much equipment and supplies we use in any type of military action. Like, there's Humvees. And,
MREs alone, you're looking at one. Just
the Connex trailer living barracks. All that stuff doesn't just appear out of.
It's going to move slow, but you get you'd have a fighter group, an escort. Or you just have it low enough to where a carrier group can actually escort it.
And this is my thought process on it. Like the easiest comparison would be, yes, it's slow, but think about it in terms of how long a ship would take.
Yeah.
Because a lot of stuff actually these days gets sent commercial shipping, like on the ocean, believe it or not. Yeah.
Like those container ships?
Yeah.
And then one
that was one of the things you did, You load up the Connex and get it prep it for shipping before you deploy. It doesn't fly there,
Touche, yeah. I never thought of that.
So that, I think, is where this thing would excel.
Yes. Well,
plus it would be easier to unload because those things can land anywhere. You don't have to have an improved surface. You just land that thing outside of a fob, just boop, bring all the equipment out. There you go.
Nice
you
and
could
slow.
potentially, I could even see that having like mobile fob potential, like for units such as like the CBs that can just go out in the field and build a fob out of nowhere.
If they build more of a wingspan to it and increase the thrust, that right there to me, the nerd in me is saying that is a prototype helicarrier for SHIELD.
Yeah.
That's you flatten the top. It's semi-rigid, so you can flatten the top and reinforce it, and then factor in the extra thrust that you would need. You have a floating carrier. How awesome would it be? 9,000% awesome. How effective would it be? Because then you got to mount the defenses on it to defend your carrier. And
that
one Sea Whiz gun ought to do it.
Space Spike.
Yeah. Next one we're looking at here is Project Falcon, and the DARPA image of it pretty much looks like a solid rocket booster that flew up into orbit and then opened up, and then there's like a black dart looking thing at the end of it. Like, it doesn't look as if it's built to transport people, but right now it seems that it's in the test phase because it's, from what I've been able to read on it, one of the fastest things that we've ever built, because they're saying this thing can go Mach 20, which according to the website, 20,000 kilometers an hour, Americanized about 10,000 miles an hour, give or take. So it says the technological limitations of hypersonic flight are countless, especially when it comes to maintaining supersonic speeds over prolonged periods of time.
That's strictly got to be recon. That's cool, but...
they go that fast, though. Like, reach anywhere in the world in less than an hour. I look at more applications on that for like an ICBM.
Yeah. Hypersonic missiles. It's a thing.
You hear what I hear?
Yeah, I hear him.
Damn Cat Damon. What's he doing? Crack the door for him.
Yeah.
Oh, no, he's just going to Now he's just going to walk off. Get back here, cat!
I'd be like that.
Dick. So yeah, anywhere in the world in under an hour.
Then you got to think, why do we need to get anywhere in the world in under an hour?
First strike.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
I know the Russians have been working on hypersonic missiles for a while. I think that's the future. I think we're going to move away from ICBMs to...
It'd be whoever can get the closest to the instant strike.
And that's where we're heading.
It's the upgrade of nuclear deterrence.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you know that your enemy can strike you in 1 hour or less than an hour, and you're only capable of striking him, and your munitions reach target at like 2 hours, you're that much more likely to not want to try to start shit.
Exactly. And try to wrap your head around how that's going to change like strategy and the logistics of defense. Because if you can have like a hypersonic missile with nuclear capabilities, I mean, how much smaller and how much more deployable can you make that across a variety of platforms? Like, you're not just going from ICBMs from a submarine. You're going to ship,
Yeah.
any kind of ship, any kind of aircraft,
Now, the thing that's interesting about this, I was reading, they had 2 test flights scheduled, one in 2010 and one in 2011, but they had to cancel both the flights prematurely. Said before any long-duration hypersonic flight could take place. So that's what it says, that they had to cancel the flights.
We all know what that means.
Yeah, they used them. Solid Snake. I don't know.
That's probably just to distract us from the UFOs.
lizard people.
God, I love those lizard people.
So the goal is to fly it at Mach 20. That's their goal. The HTV-2 Falcon. Yeah. So I don't ever see that being manned, because then you got to get all Star Trek-y and start looking into like the technology of inertial dampeners. Inertial dampeners that will dampen that jolt of energy, or even if it's a slow from like takeoff. Like, let's say you can taxi this thing off a runway, fly it up, and then fly in orbit or wherever and achieve Mach 20. Even if at a slow progression, the human body can't take that much force.
No, that's probably not going to happen anytime soon.
Because that for us as a person, that you're crushing it. You're going to be jelly. Like, your whole body would just collapse. Like, we have G suits. I know the Air Force utilizes G suits, and the Navy fighter pilots do. That they can take like, I think 9 Gs or something like that.
20's pushing it.
Yeah, 20. Yeah, 20 double. Yeah, we're double that, and they've already just like they crush you like a grape.
I want one of those.
So now we're looking at the Ground X Vehicle Project. So the way DARPA put out a artist concept of it, and it looks like the original Xbox Halo game with like the Warthog, if you put a top on it.
Yeah.
Little gun, 4-wheelers.
Like a Tonka truck, sort of.
So they want their Ground X vehicles. The project is aiming to develop off-road terrain vehicles that are capable of tackling any kind of terrain or elevation, slope, whatever. So they want to pretty much create armored vehicles that can go anywhere. Tanks are pretty utilitarian, and for the half track, I mean, they can tackle a lot of shit. But when it comes to rocky and rough terrain, they're shot.
Well, not just that. And then when it comes to urban terrain, they're really at a handicap. Like, they're kind of pointless at that point.
More sluggish on concrete, or
no? It's just that it's too confined to space for them. Like, I mean, doing urban operations, unless it's just an all-out invasion in an urban area, is just
deterrent.
Yeah,
it's a deterrent. You're just looking at it. That's fucking tank.
You may think that's a deterrent, but if you look back at the history of like insurgencies,
it's also a target.
Yeah, it's a big target. That doesn't necessarily have complete 360 visibility at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sticky ball.
What is it?
That looks like it could operate just about anywhere. Now, how armored it is, I don't know. Does it say?
It doesn't really mention anything having to do with the armor, but they do say on the checklist for the vehicle is they want to improve onboard sensors to eliminate the need for windows, which that technology does exist. There were test flights of aircraft that were done back in the 90s, mid to late 90s, where they would paint you this picture of the future that you get on your plane and there's no windows on the entire thing, but the stewardess will hand you a pair of sunglasses. And when you're on your flight and you're sitting down, you put the sunglasses on and you look, and it looks right through the hull of the ship. Like, you can just see outside. Like, it looks like you're looking outside. You look down, look everywhere, you can see outside of the ship. I can't explain the technology. I don't know it.
I think they call that glassless cockpit or something like that.
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't know the basis of the technology with that, what makes it work. I just know that
cameras.
I listened to it in a conference thing, like a future tomorrow today conference years ago, and they had talked about that, and I remember that always stuck with me. But yeah, they want these things to be nearly indetectable by infrared, which is already possible out there anyway, like a ghillie suit. Hell, a good ghillie suit that the snipers wear. I had a lieutenant I served with that had a ghillie suit, and we do exercises and stuff. You try to find him with the thermal. That ghillie suit diffuses your thermal signature. Like it's scary as shit because you know this dude's out there and you can't find him even with thermals, and you really got to be looking through night vision and flashlights the old-fashioned way. Yeah, they want to reduce the noise of it and give off near to no electromagnetic radiation.
Technology.
If they're going to go this route and they want it to be truly off-road and all-terrain, the wheel has to go.
Why?
You got to get rid of the wheel.
Why?
Because, look, the wheel is good. Pretty much our oldest invention, next to fire.
But if they can articulate and they have
articulation is the key. Remove the wheel and just leave an articulating surface.
Okay, I can see that.
So that brings me into this other one here, robotic landing gear. So they were talking about, and this project came in 2015. So it was pretty much to have manipulative legs, like turn a helicopter into a quadruped, because we've been using the ski under the helicopter for forever. And they're talking about using articulating legs to allow a helicopter to land in rough seas on any moving platform or anything like that. You can apply a similar technology, which is going to require a lot more oomph and a lot more power ultimately when you apply it to like the Ground X vehicle.
What are these rails you speak of?
All
the birds I flew on had wheels.
You know, like the standard helicopter, like civilian helicopter. Like we're getting there. I mean, we got wheels now. They're putting like the Crash Hawk had the wheels on it. Little Bird had skis.
Yeah, but we don't have those anymore. We sold them all to the Afghanis.
Yeah.
And then they crashed them.
But I mean, I could definitely combine that with Ground X.
Yeah.
I mean, the gamer in me goes to the Metal Gear series.
So what was the intention of the articulating legs for the helicopter? Was that strictly for
landing and takeoff on uneven and moving surfaces?
So seaborne landings? Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Or if you got to land on a sloping hillside or a rough mountain or something with some rocks.
You got a good pilot. He don't care.
Yeah, but you know who does care is the rotors. The rotors have to care because they get impeded with anything. And
that little guy? Don't worry about that little guy.
Usually a short trip. So also next, there was the BRAIN Initiative, announced in 2013. The BRAIN Initiative is a massive undertaking by a number of agencies across the country, including universities, tech companies, and neuroscientists.
Scary.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in on this one. And lamest terms of it is trying to break down the barrier between the human brain and the digital world. Lawnmower Man.
Yeah, that's scary. I know I don't even know where to go with that. That's pretty mind-blowing. And
The Matrix.
I know there's like a big fascination with that in today's society. And it could have benefits, but at the same time, you got to think about how dark and scary that could really be.
Yeah.
Because if you're bridging your brain to the digital world, potentially the internet, I mean, what the downside of that is.
Look, I see where
huge,
where the merchant corporations of the world would like to go with it.
Yeah. I mean, you're pretty much giving up.
You plug your SIM card from
your mental sovereignty, Yeah.
And then you're going to start seeing Google pop-up ads in your face because it pops up in your vision.
I mean, I already think that social media probably has a negative effect on our brains. This is just only going to advance it.
Yeah. Because then there will be no escape from social media.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't want to look at social media, you just turn your phone off or your computer off or you don't go near it. You incorporate it into the brain. I mean, I would assume that there would be some kind of off switch or put it to sleep or mute or vibrate or whatever.
I mean, these days you don't know. Like, I mean, wireless technology, 5G.
Man, I had to drive up to Pennsylvania past Pittsburgh the other day. And it was a funeral for a guy I served with in the military. So we went there and, did the funeral thing. And then me and my girlfriend were like, let's go get something to eat. Just eat some feelings is pretty much what I was doing that day. But I was playing on my phone there, and I looked, and we had 5G-E, which is faster than my fiber optic connection that I have here. Because I was just testing. I was hitting YouTube and loading hour-long videos, like boop, like everything loaded immediately. There was almost no delay.
I thought they hadn't rolled out the true 5G yet. I thought I was just...
That's what the phone said when I looked at it. It said 5G-E. Now, I don't know if it's 5G LTE or if that's faster, because we have 4G up here. Yeah, it's usually like 4G LTE that I can get up here, and that's pretty fast. I've not really had an issue with it.
Now, they say in some circles, there's a theory that 5G will cause physical harm to the human body and the environment.
How?
Just the electromagnetic...
I never thought of like
the field that it creates.
The composition of the field. I never thought about that. All we care about is the speed of it. How quick can I look at cat videos on YouTube? Look at that little cat. Oh, God. It's so adorable.
I don't care about cancer. I just want to look at cat videos.
That's all they want. Yeah, see? Because then the health insurance, they don't have to pay out your bills anymore. You just die. You just sit there and you consume your content. And then you just go to sleep and never wake up because of 5G. That's all they want. Just clicks and likes and just get it going.
Instant gratification,
just buy a bunch of shit. Now, here's one that we both need.
That's, out of everything, that's what I really need in my life.
Good God, yes. Homes that repair themselves. So DARPA launched this in the summer of 2016. The program is called Engineering Living Materials. Had a vision to create building materials that grow. The goal is to be able to construct buildings that repair themselves and adapt to any kind of living environment.
Can they make a car that does that? That'd be awesome.
Tesla's actually working on it. I don't know about, well, maybe not the repair process, but it's more of their solar technology. They've started creating, or they have created solar shingles, solar roofing. Like the entire roof is solar. But it's super expensive right now. I think it would cost more than the average cost of the home.
A whole lot cooler if it could change its own oil.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. Like, God, if a car had adaptive technology, I mean, you see where they're going.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just got that car, and that's still blowing me away as the little bells and whistles on it. Because I've driven a Jeep Wrangler that was 10 years old, and I love that car, but I knew she was starting to go, so I traded it and got that little Jeep Renegade. Yeah, we're not. Yeah, Pat. Yeah, they call it Pat because it's like Pat from, was it Mad TV or Saturday Night Live? Because we're not sure if it's a boy car or a girl car, so they call it Pat. And
Very ambiguous.
Whatever. It's a little four-banger that's got four-wheel drive, and I love it. But it's doing little things that I didn't know that they programmed into it. And I guess it's a fiat thing that when I drive home at night, I don't ever really use the fog lights unless it's actually foggy, because for the standard halogen bulbs that are in it, they're really bright. But I was getting off the interstate the other day and was making a right-hand turn, and I noticed it got brighter when I was making my turn, and then when I straightened out, the light went down. And I didn't know what it was until I got out of the car, put it in park, turned on a turn signal. Whatever your turn signal is, it'll turn on the corresponding fog light to illuminate your turn. And then I tried it without the fog light.
Yeah, I've seen that.
When you turn the wheel a certain amount of way, it'll automatically illuminate the fog light.
Does the stereo volume auto-adjust?
It does, and I turned that off because I don't like it.
Yeah, that really confused me with...
It has rain-sensing wipers, which I was kind of excited for. And I tried them, and I was driving on the interstate, and it was raining pretty good. And I'm just staring at the windshield as it's just getting rain covering, going, come on, losing visibility. And eventually it would be like, meh, meh. And it would do it, but it just...
Got to throw some Rain-X on that junk.
It didn't do it as well as I did. So I turned that off and just run it the manual intermittent way. But yeah, God, the backup camera is blowing my mind because I never used that shit. Never had the lane indicators or anything like that. Didn't have any of that. I was still getting over the fact that I had a CD player in my Wrangler. And I just realized when I traded the vehicle, I left my only CD that I own in it.
Way to go.
Damn it. It was the Death Clock album.
So back to this home that repairs itself. Are we talking solar shingles?
Well, looking at the diagram, it highlights the roofing, the chimneys, the walls. So they're talking like truly adaptive. So rain damage, wind damage, the roof will be able to mend itself. I mean, think about this. That would actually increase resale value if you did things like it was in your home or whatever. You were looking at buying a home and it had this inside of it. And the previous owner was a smoker, but you'd never be able to know because the interior walls were constantly scrubbing the secondhand smoke out of the wall, like eliminating
That
it.
would be awesome.
That would be awesome.
I mean, I would love a driveway that repaired itself. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I'd love a driveway that would just not be slippery and muddy and shitty out, or just would never ice. You know, I'll take the slippery, muddy shit, but as long as it just doesn't ice over and freeze, because that's the worst part. You come down my driveway to get here. It's steep, and that's why with the wood burner, I save every ounce of ash that I vacuum up. The ash and the charcoal and the coals that I have left all goes into a big 55-gallon trash can that I got a big galvanized steel one out in the back, and I dump that ash vacuum out in. It's about 3/4 of the way full, and good thing, because it's been rainy here the last few days, and it's supposed to be a big cold snap coming up for about the next 4 or 5 days. Like, the temperature's going to be R. Kelly in the teens. It's a terrible joke.
Snow on you. What them solar roads? Didn't you talk about that?
We did.
Okay.
Me and Navy Wayne. I'm sorry, Navy Wayne.
I love
Talked
that.
about that.
I love that idea.
Now, do you know who else is developing some new technology?
Do tell.
Amazon.
Amazon developing technology?
Mm-hmm.
I'd never thunk it.
Yeah. From the people that brought you CIA listening device Alexa, Amazon is now developing 100,000 all-electric delivery vans that say they're going to save millions of metric tons of carbon each year.
To go along with their fleet of drones.
There's the little vans. Those are actual size.
What?
No, that's just a prototype van.
I thought that was going to be the actual delivery.
They have midgets driving it. So yeah, apparently they put it up in Michigan, the plant, which was kind of nice. I think maybe they could have done it in Motor City, Detroit. Would have really brought some life back into that town. But Amazon's saying the vehicles are the next generation of Amazon delivery vans, electric-powered vehicles that will hit the roads beginning in 2021. So they're already on the assembly line right now. So they're trying to build the most sustainable transportation fleet in the world, and that's quoting Ross Raichi, the director of Amazon's global fleet and products. So they ordered 100,000 of them, the largest ever order of electric delivery vehicles from Rivian, which is a producer of emissions-free electric vehicles. These guys there are development centers right there in Plymouth, just outside Detroit. Rock City! So yeah, it was apparently Amazon had this thing called a climate pledge to meet the Paris Agreement 10 years early. Oh, nice. Because yeah, there was that Paris Agreement on emissions that we didn't take part of.
I mean, we did, but then we pulled out.
They were like, nah, America, diesel.
We do what we want.
We still ain't going to metric. Y'all ain't going to stop this. So apparently the pledge had also called on signatories to become net zero carbon across their businesses by 2040, a decade ahead of the Paris Accords goal of 2050. So by 2040, Amazon is supposed to be all emissions free, like all electric vehicles.
You know, that's something I'd really like to see take hold in our area. I mean, with our economy being what it is.
Well, the all electric vehicles?
I'm not an environmentalist by any means. You know, I think being green is useful, like it's helpful, but like, you know, that's not my thing, but
you understand the practicality and the purpose of it.
Right, yeah.
You're not trying to be green because everybody wants to be green because that's the in thing to do right now.
Correct.
You're not doing it for likes and oh, thank God, you're one of us, you're the good ones.
Correct. Like I don't virtue signal, but anyway, but that'd be great to like develop some kind of like be on the ground level of some kind of new industry or manufacturing of some sort, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Because these days with technology, distance and location matters a whole lot less.
Yeah. Yeah, and like when me and Wayne were talking about this with like the electric vehicles and everything, I fully support it. I don't.
But it has to be feasible.
It has to be feasible. I mean, you see what I drive now. I don't care about the image, all right? But for us in this area, in the mountains of West Virginia, you need to make these vehicles capable to handle the roads here.
Mm-hmm.
The Japanese put the PRT system in Morgantown, West Virginia, and I want to say it was like the early 90s that they did that. And they did it for free with the university because they needed somewhere that had all the different climates and the weather that we get. And that's why this was perfect, because of the mountains, because of the snow, because of the rain, because of the heat, because we get it all. We can get it all in extremes in this state. So if Tesla or Amazon or one of them really want to truly test out something, hook some people up in this state with a prototype project. Say, we need you to drive it here through through some of these counties' roads or whatever.
Mhm.
Because, God, there was the road my parents live on, the local news station came out, and my mom was driving back to her house, and like Channel 12 News was set up on their road because it's apparently worst road in West Virginia right now or something like that. Because it's just all potholes. All potholes.
But not just, I mean, you got to think of the utility of these vehicles also as well. Not just, yes, the environmental thing's very important, but
I
like,
still need the torque to get me out of a hole or a rut.
what do we use vehicles here for? A lot of people use trucks for their livelihood, you know, whether it be a contractor or if, say, you're hauling wood to heat your home.
Yeah.
So it needs to be able to haul that capacity over unimproved terrain for an extended period of time.
Speaking of hauling wood, did you know the lumber mill near here?
I didn't know there was a lumber mill near here.
Well, it's down the road area.
All right.
Like 15 miles. It's down the road when you live out here. But I have a kindling splitter that I split kindling by hand with like a 3-pound engineer's hammer, and it's got a blade, and I just smacking crap out of the wood with a hammer.
Just whacking it.
Just whacking it. Whacking away with my hammer. But I'd be out there like wearing myself out for hours. Don't get me wrong, it's a good workout, but guy we work with showed up to work, and I said, why you got all that wood in the back of your truck? He said, I'll just go to the lumber mill. It's all the scrap, like little pieces of scrap wood.
Just giving it away,
And
probably.
he said, it's free. There's a giant pile of it. They just say, pull up, take as much as you want, and it's perfect kindling.
Nice.
And it's all oak and poplar and maple and pine. It's just, it's a big grab bag, but they're perfect sizes for kindling. And I looked at that and went, son of a bitch. Here I am getting exercise. How dare me.
Like an idiot.
Like an idiot taking care of his body when I could just drive. Now I got this Jeep Renegade that I can fold a seat down, and I might be able to get 3 sticks in there. Oh, man. But yeah, back to these electric cars, man. Yeah.
Not just electric cars, just that type of technology in general. Like, you know, we've discussed the solar roads. I mean, what better place to test those than here?
Yeah.
Where there's limited sunlight, a lot of elevation changes, a lot of weather changes, and our roads don't last more than a year anyway.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm trying to think of the last time my parents' road was actually paved, and it's been over 5 years, because when it got as bad as it was, and it's never gotten as bad as it is now.
Mm-hmm.
But the state road guys, at least the DOT actually came out and they graveled the whole road, which in the country out here in the sticks, to be honest, a lot of us prefer the gravel.
Better traction.
Yeah, you get better traction out of it.
Lasts longer.
You don't really have to plow it that much. I mean, these guys plow it and they just, the snow plows come through. Well, the snow plow can't come through in some of these back roads. They send out a grader, like the grader that grates roads prior to them being paved, you know, where you get that little graded effect. They run that with like a blower attachment on it. And it's super cool to watch because it'll move some snow. But it beats the holy crap out of at all this. Like, it's just, ugh. Because then after it finally melts, the roads are worse, and they've ripped up old patch holes, and it's just, it looks like Baghdad during the surge.
Yeah, I don't understand. We've been making these roads out of what, blacktop for how many years now?
Yeah, they do triple shots of tar up here still. They do tar, and then they throw gravel on it, and they tarred and graveled, and then they were supposed to pave on top of that, and they just let it go. Yeah. And then all the gravel has been pushed off into the sides of the road where the culverts are and the ditches. It's filled the ditches full of gravel, tar, and debris, and then you get laying water that lays all over the roads, and then it breaks up the remaining blacktop, which just washes away into people's yards, into their homes. My parents' septic line actually backed up. It was like a swimming pool in front of their house because the culverts were all clogged up. And I actually had to go with him because he has a little backhoe, a little John Deere backhoe, and we used it to dig shit out of there. And the state road guys came along and was like, well, you can't do that. This state road. And it was like, well, you're damaging his property. And they kind of looked at it and were like, oh, well, yeah, you got us.
You're right.
It's amazing, though, when he comes out, you don't see these guys forever. And then they go out and they just try to dig a little bit. You know, my dad's trying to dig a little bit, take care of his property. All of a sudden, they show up out of the woodwork.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm grateful that we actually have roads, you know, because I've been to a lot of third world countries where their transportation system's nowhere near even close to West Virginia's.
And then there's me over here complaining like a true first worlder.
No, but you're right though. Like, I don't understand. We've been for how many decades have we been making these roads, and they have to be replaced every year or two?
Well, you remember
why haven't we found anything new?
There was like $12 or $13 million that we were supposed to have to fix the roads.
Yeah.
That we pay for out of our personal property tax and the taxes we pay each year, which the personal property tax is for your vehicles, for homes, stuff like that. And it's all supposed to go back into the road system. But then a year or two ago, the entire West Virginia Supreme Court pretty much got impeacched because they were like all corrupt. And then I think there was like $12 million missing. Like, oh, well, where'd all the money go? We don't know. They just buried the story. We haven't heard shit from it since. The roads are still just degrading.
Dropped it behind the refrigerator.
I mean, because, you know, if you drive some of these shitty roads that we have out here and you blow out the sidewall of a tire or bend a rim, which has happened to me multiple times just because of how these roads are, you can contact the Department of Transportation and do like a tort claim through them to file to get that stuff replaced.
I'm sure it's super easy.
Yeah, it's like a 9-year backlog. Like they want photos and proof. You know, so if you don't have like a dash camera on at all times to prove that the road is what did it, it's a hard battle.
My photographic proof would be a picture of my West Virginia license plate. That's all you need to know.
just have
you might as well go ahead and set me up a stipend.
It would just have like, I'd take a photo of my driver's license and send it to him with underlining my address and what county I'm in. Be like, need I say more? Need I say more? God, like even the larger towns like Morgantown, that's the college town. That's where West Virginia University is at. But it's like they took all of the roads in these in like the backwood counties that we have, the terrible roads, and they just took all those potholes and just crammed them into that town because it's just as bad. The only difference is everybody there is speeding through it. Like it's, and then you pile on the college kids that walk around there, which I call them they're like a deer. Like if you ever driving along, and there's that deer standing in the road, and you got to hit your brakes. Just put some AirPods in that deer, like in his ears, and throw like a satchel backpack on him, and like he's like looking at you like, what are you gonna do, man? What are you gonna do about it? Huh? I'm gonna win. And you're like, no, you're not. This is the entire other entitlement speech that just started coming to mind. I'm not even gonna go there. Well, guys, it looks like we're all out of time here on the show. That actually went by a lot faster than we thought. We had a lot of things to talk about, and we talked about them very quickly. Like I said, I will include the links to the articles we were looking at here in the description below. So don't forget to check out the other different ways here you can listen, guys. iHeart Radio, Stitcher, Spotify, Sounder, Google Podcasts, iTunes, and the YouTube, and maybe some other form of the anti-social media out there that we're going to try to throw out one of these days. But all right, guys, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for giving us a listen. And until we see you next time, peace out.
Later.
Let's go.
Later.
Hello.